All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Today, we're tackling something I think we all encounter
Yeah.
at some point in our lives.
Every day, probably.
Every day, yeah. Narcissism.
Oh, yeah. Big one.
But we're going deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This isn't just like, oh, that person's a narcissist. Like, we see those memes all over the internet, but we're going beyond that. We're going to really figure out what this thing is.
Yeah.
Where it falls on a spectrum.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like you are or you aren't.
Right.
There are levels to this, and we're going to look at how recognizing it in ourselves and in others can really help us navigate relationships.
That's right. And I think some of the most useful stuff we're going to talk about today is how to spot these narcissistic traits in action so you can see it coming.
Yes.
And protect yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Because forewarned is forearmed, as they say.
Okay, so I was reading through the research, and our sources define narcissism as, well, it's a mouthful, a complex personality trait. And that's important, right? It's not simple.
Right.
It's fueled by this need for admiration, a lack of empathy, and an inflated sense of self-importance.
Okay, so right off the bat, important to point out, not just vanity here.
Okay.
It's deeper than that.
Yeah.
Though vanity can be a part of it.
Right, right.
It's really about this, almost this belief in one's superiority. Like you actually believe you are better.
Than everyone else.
Than everyone else, yeah. And what's wild is studies show they even have trouble recognizing emotions in others' faces.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just ignoring your feelings. It's like they don't even see the cues.
Yeah, so it's not a conscious choice.
Right.
It's almost like a blind spot.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's break these traits down.
Okay.
So we can actually spot them.
Love it.
Like, if someone's got that excessive need for admiration, how does that actually show up in daily life?
Yeah.
Like at work, for example.
Oh, I've seen this so many times. So picture this. Someone's always going to be the center of attention in meetings, right? Steering the conversation back to their achievements.
Right, yes.
They're name dropping. They're taking credit for other people's ideas, downplaying other successes.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about that external validation.
That constant need to be the star.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's admiration.
Right.
What about that lack of empathy piece? What's a real world example of that?
Oh, man. This one hits home.
Yeah.
Think about someone who just constantly interrupts you, talks over you.
Oh, yeah.
Never actually listens to what you have to say. Or they don't get why you're upset by their actions.
Yeah.
Like can't wrap their head around it because to connect with your emotional state, they would have to shift focus.
Right.
Which is tough.
Away from themselves.
Exactly.
Which ties into the inflated sense of self-importance.
Totally.
But isn't some level of that healthy?
Okay, good point.
I mean, where is the line between, like, confidence and narcissism?
So true, yeah. We all need a healthy amount of self-belief.
Yeah.
The difference is, for someone with narcissistic tendencies, that self-importance is very fragile, needs constant validation.
So they can't handle any criticism.
Nope.
Even if it's meant to be helpful.
Totally. Even if it's constructive.
Wow.
It's seen as a threat.
So it's not just that they think they're better.
Right.
They need to think they're better.
Yes. That's why they're so sensitive to any perceived slight.
Okay, so you mentioned this earlier. This isn't just a yes or no kind of thing. Definitely not.
Yeah.
This spectrum idea is really fascinating to me. And our sources talk about subtypes too.
Yeah.
What did you find interesting about that?
So much. Okay. It's a range. It's not black and white.
Yeah.
Healthy self-esteem all the way to toxic, like a sliding scale. Right.
Yep.
One end is healthy. You feel good about yourself, but you can own your flaws and learn from mistakes. The other end is toxic, manipulating, lacking empathy. It's all about them.
It's like our sources said, someone confidently giving a speech. That'd be totally fine.
Yeah.
But then someone arguing and dismissing others' feelings, that's a huge red flag.
Huge red flag. And within that spectrum, we see those subtypes.
Yeah.
Grandiose narcissism. Think like the classic attention seeker, right?
Yeah.
Larger than life personality.
Got it.
Then there's vulnerable narcissism. More introverted, might seem sensitive.
Okay.
But underneath it all, same need for admiration.
Wow. Okay, so practically speaking, how do we actually spot where someone falls on this spectrum?
Okay, so good question.
What are the warning signs?
Big one, constant need for validation, praise.
Okay.
They're fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
They're getting upset if they're not the center of attention.
Got it.
Another one, can't handle criticism at all. Even well-intentioned feedback, it's met with anger or denial.
So knowing all this, it's not about labeling people, right?
Not at all.
It's about protecting ourselves.
100%. It's about setting healthy boundaries,
Yeah.
recognizing those harmful behaviors early, and choosing to protect our well-being.
So what does a boundary actually look like in a situation like this? Give me an example.
Sure. So, say you've got a friend who always makes jokes at your expense to get a laugh, right?
Yeah.
Healthy boundary. Say, hey, you know those comments actually hurt my feelings? Can you stop?
Right.
If they keep doing it, you got to reconsider how much time, how much energy you put into that friendship.
That's hard though, right?
Yeah.
What if it's family or someone you can't just easily avoid?
Totally. Yeah, those situations are way tougher.
Yeah.
But even then, just recognizing the patterns can help you detach a little,
Right.
not take it personally. It's about self-preservation.
It's so interesting. Our source had this great closing line. They said, learn, reflect, grow. So thinking about everyone in your life, where do you fall on this spectrum?
Ew.
Because I know I'm doing some self-reflection after this.
You and me both. You know, we all have some aspects of these traits. We're all human, but reflecting on it helps us understand ourselves better.
Yeah.
Make sure those tendencies aren't hurting people around us. Little self-love, healthy.
Yeah. Right.
But as they say, don't stare at your reflection too long.
That's good advice. All right, everyone. Thanks for diving in with us. Until next time, keep learning, keep reflecting, keep growing.
And keep those boundaries strong.
Absolutely.
See you next time.
Bye.